South Korea, also known as the Republic of Korea, ROK, is a nation in East Asia that is located on the Korean Peninsula's southern tip and borders North Korea on the land. The Yellow Sea forms its western border, and the Sea of Japan forms its eastern border. The entire peninsula and surrounding islands, according to South Korea, are under its sole and rightful rule. There are 51.75 million people living there, about half of whom reside in the Seoul capital area, the fifth largest city in the world. Incheon, Busan, and Daegu are some further significant cities. The Lower Paleolithic era records the earliest human presence on the Korean peninsula. Early in the first millennium BCE, Chinese records mention its first kingdom. The Goryeo dynasty, 918-1392, and the Joseon dynasty ruled Korea after the three kingdoms of Korea were united into Silla and Balhae in the late 7th century, 1392 to 1897. In 1910, the Empire of Japan seized the successor Korean Empire, 1897 to 1910. Japanese rule ended upon the former's capitulation in World War II, after which Korea was divided into two zones, a northern zone occupied by the Soviet Union and a southern zone occupied by the United States. The former became the Socialist Democratic People's Republic of Korea the next month, while the latter became the Republic of Korea in August 1948 after failed attempts at reunification. The Korean War began in 1950 when North Korea invaded, prompting major United Nations intervention under American leadership in favor of the South and Chinese participation in support of the North with Soviet assistance. After the war ended in 1953, the nation formed a military alliance with the United States, and its ravaged economy started to boom. Between 1980 and 1990, it experienced the fastest increase in average GDP per capita in the whole globe. Despite having few natural resources, the country quickly developed into one of the four Asian tigers through trade and economic globalization, integrating itself into the global economy through export-oriented industrialization, and becoming one of the world's largest exporters and holders of foreign exchange reserves. The authoritarian regime was overthrown in 1987 as a result of the June democratic struggle, and the nation is now regarded as one of Asia's most developed democracies with the highest level of press freedom on the continent. On the Human Development Index, HDI, for Asia and Oceania, South Korea is a highly developed nation and is placed 6th overall. The third highest life expectancy in the world is found in South Korea. The nation has been dealing with an aging population and the lowest fertility rate in the world in recent years. By nominal GDP, its economy is the 12th largest in the world. Both the densest high-speed rail network and one of the fastest internet connections in the world are available to its residents. The country is the world's 9th largest exporter and 9th largest importer. According to military and paramilitary professionals, its armed forces are among the strongest in the world and comprise the second largest standing army in the world. South Korea has gained notoriety for its worldwide significant pop culture since the turn of the 21st century, particularly in music, K-pop, TV dramas, K-dramas, and film, a phenomenon known as the Korean Wave. It participates in the G20, the IPEF, the Paris Club, and the OECD's Development Assistance Committee. Ten crazy and fun things about South Korea. We challenge anyone to visit South Korea and not fall in love with it. It is a genuinely intriguing country. You will probably discover that you end up appreciating South Korea and its people the most, much like with humans, where it's their weird eccentricities that you fall in love with. In order to encourage you even more to board a flight and visit this Southeast Asian hidden gem, we've put together a list of the top 10 crazy and fun things we know about South Korea. You won't regret it, we promise. 1. You'll deteriorate more rapidly. No, it isn't stuck in a time loop. Your Korean age will be either 1 or 2 years older than your Western age, depending on the month you were born in, as South Korea utilizes a different method of determining age than many other Asian nations do. According to the country's traditional calendar, a baby is considered to be alive when they turn 1 year old. After that, they are considered to be 2 years old, 3 years old, etc. But in South Korea, instead of aging up on one's real birthday, everyone ages up on the Lunar New Year, Seollal, in February. For instance, even though a kid born in January would only be a few days old in the Western calendar, they would be 1 year old when they were born and 2 years old on Seollal in February. Hopefully the extra years you receive when you land will bring you more wisdom rather than more wrinkles, because it can be perplexing. 2. It's not cheese, it's kimchi. When you urge them to grin for a picture, don't look foolish. Make sure to say, kimchi, in your directions. Not cheese, but rather, the national dish, based on fermented veggies and spices, absolutely amazing, in order to avoid receiving a list of expressions that is empty, or some cheese. Never claim that we didn't warn you. 3. Beards are not good. Sorry, fellas. No matter how much beard oil you use or how much grooming you do, all beards are regrettably regarded as being quite untidy and ungroomed in contemporary South Korea. So, if you want to avoid being shunned on the streets, you'll need to shave closely. 4. This is a highly unlucky number. Every society has its own superstitions, and South Korean ones are no different from those found in most other cultures. However, knowing them will help you keep your South Korean friends happy and will prevent you from presuming that nobody there is able to count from 1 to 10. Given that the phrases for death and for sound similar in Korean, South Koreans believe the number 4 to be extremely unlucky. You shouldn't ever offer sets of 4 as gifts, because the elevator's 4th level button is frequently F instead of 4, and sometimes it's skipped altogether. Not just the number 4, but also the numerals 14 and 44, which in Korean have the meanings dead and deceased and time to be deceased, respectively, are avoided. 5. No red ink. Using red ink when writing people's names, especially, is the subject of another South Korean superstition. To put it simply, avoid, avoid, avoid. In South Korea, writing a person's name in red ink denotes that they are either soon to pass away or have already passed away. Don't do that in your TEFL class, since the students will dive to seize the pen from your hand and scream "Nuu" at you in slow motion. 6. The dates are up in the air. While British and American English employ the month-day-year pattern, respectively, Koreans typically use year-month-day, depending on their level of education. Therefore, October 9th, 12 might be September 12th, 2010, September 10th, or October 9th, 2012. At least keeps life interesting, particularly in regards to sell-by dates. 7. Shop, figuratively, until you drop. The majority of department stores in South Korea stay open till 4 a.m. because people there love to shop. Just for background, most pubs and restaurants close at midnight. So South Korea is the spot for you if you like to shop after dinner. The Shinseki Satumcity, a massive department store located in Busan, is another landmark of South Korea. It offers everything you could possibly need to buy, no, really. And, in case you need a break from all that shopping, it also has a fantastic spa, a peaceful roof garden, and a sizable 60-hole golf driving range. 8. Zero tips. Tipping the waitstaff is frequently viewed as an insult, so be careful while paying for your lunch in South Korea, especially if you're from the USA, to make sure you pay the actual amount rather than adding a tip on top. This is due to the fact that the workforce is properly compensated and does not rely on tips to increase their pay. Good news: saving money will enable you to eat out more frequently. Win-win. 9. Magic structures. In South Korea, structures appear and go at a startlingly rapid rate. You'll pass a hair salon 1 week, and the following week it will have changed into a restaurant that has undergone extensive renovations. You'll always have new locations to explore because it's like living in a computer game that is continuously being updated. Never will life be monotonous. 10. Pairs click. It's very typical to see a pair in South Korea wearing identical outfits to one another. And here, we're even discussing the same socks. Make sure you stock up on the same outfits before you depart if you and your significant other are traveling there. And there you have it, 10 amusing and intriguing characteristics of South Korea that make it an outstanding location for TEFL. Why not look into our 12-month TEFL internship if you want to travel while teaching in South Korea? Along with earning a fantastic salary, you will be completely supported the entire time, and you will be traveling with a group of like-minded people. Choosing to act alone? No problem. To view the most recent TEFL job openings in South Korea, visit the Love TEFL Jobs board.